Hey, welcome back to the Strong with Ava podcast, where we skip the fluff, ditch the diet culture drama, and dive straight into science-backed strategies that actually work. I'm Ava Carter, and today we're getting into a tool that completely changed my approach to food and fat loss: macro tracking. I know, it sounds a little technical, but listen, tracking macros is the reason I no longer live off lettuce and low self-esteem. It's real, it's doable, and honestly, it's freedom in disguise. Let me take you back for a second. When I first tried to get lean, I followed one of those old school bro diets I found online. Chicken, broccoli, and brown rice, 6 times a day. I was losing weight, sure, but I was also bloated, cranky, and one bland bite away from throwing my meal prep in the trash. Then a friend looked me dead in the eye and said, "You do know you can eat carbs and still lose fat, right?" Mind blown. That's when I discovered the power of macros: protein, carbs, and fats. The holy trinity of fueling your body without hating your life. Think of it like budgeting. But instead of dollars, you're allocating nutrients your body actually needs to function, recover, and thrive. Part 1. What the heck are macros? Alright, let's break it down, because before we can start using macros to fuel fat loss, boost energy, and actually enjoy our meals again, we need to understand what the heck they are. Now, I know the word macros can sound like some overcomplicated nutrition science spreadsheet kind of thing, and hey, if you've ever heard a fitness influencer talk about hitting their macros, and thought, what in the protein shake are they talking about, you're not alone. So, here's the deal. Macros is just short for macronutrients. That's it. Nothing fancy, nothing scary. Macros are the 3 main nutrients that your body uses to get energy and stay alive. Carbohydrates, proteins, fats. Yup, those 3. The ones you've probably been told to fear, obsess over, or cut out entirely at some point in your life. Let's start with the one that gets the worst PR. 1. Carbs, the misunderstood MVP. Carbohydrates are your body's go-to energy source. They break down into glucose, which fuels your brain, your muscles, and honestly, your entire vibe. But for some reason, carbs have become public enemy number 1. Somewhere along the line, someone decided that bread was the devil and bananas were basically sugar grenades. Let me just say this. Carbs are not your enemy. Your enemy is misinformation. Whole grains, fruits, veggies, beans, these are all carbs. And unless you're on a specific medical diet, like keto for epilepsy or something prescribed by your doctor, carbs are not only okay, they're necessary. They help regulate hormones, support performance, and keep you from crashing mid-afternoon like a phone stuck at 1%. Bottom line, you don't need to fear carbs. You need to understand how to include them smartly. 2. Protein, the body rebuilder. Next up, protein, the rock star of muscle repair and satiety. When you strength train, you're breaking down muscle fibers. And protein? That's what your body uses to rebuild them, stronger, leaner, and more toned. But here's the thing, protein isn't just for gym bros with gallon jugs of whey. It's for everyone, especially if you're trying to lose fat. Why? Because protein keeps you fuller longer, supports lean muscle mass, and even has a higher thermic effect, meaning your body burns more calories digesting it compared to carbs or fats. Think of protein as your body's renovation crew. It's building, repairing, and maintaining the very foundation of your physique. Aim to get a good source of protein with every meal: chicken, turkey, eggs, tofu, Greek yogurt, lentils, protein powder, whatever fits your lifestyle. 3. Fats, the hormone heroes. Last but not least, fat. Yes, fat, the macronutrient everyone tried to cancel in the 90s. Remember those fat-free snack packs that tasted like cardboard and sadness? Yeah, let's leave that era behind. Fat is essential. It helps with hormone production, brain health, nutrient absorption, and even keeps your skin glowing. Without enough fat, your body literally starts to shut down systems. And ladies, this one's especially important for you. Fat plays a huge role in regulating your menstrual cycle and hormone balance. Now, not all fats are created equal. We want to focus on healthy fats, like those from avocado, nuts, seeds, olive oil, fatty fish like salmon, the ones that fuel your body, not the ultra-processed trans fats found in some junk foods. So no, eating fat won't make you fat. Eating too much of anything will. That's where tracking and balance come in. So, why do macros matter? Think of macros like the currency of your diet. Every food you eat is made up of some combination of protein, carbs, and fats. You're already eating macros, you just might not be aware of how they add up, or how they're impacting your results. Some people thrive on a higher carb plan. Others feel better with more fat. Some need higher protein to support muscle building. There's no one size fits all. It's about finding your ideal balance that supports your goals, your energy levels, and your sanity. When you learn to track your macros, it's like putting on a pair of glasses and seeing food clearly for the first time. You stop fearing it, you start understanding it, and most importantly, you start fueling your body intentionally, not accidentally. Alright, now that you know what macros are, in the next part we'll dive into how to actually track them without it becoming your full-time job. Because no one has time to live in a spreadsheet. So take a breath, grab your coffee, or your post-workout smoothie, and let's get into the practical side of macro tracking. Coming up next. And the best part? Suddenly I wasn't afraid of bread anymore. I could eat burgers on the weekend without my abs disappearing into the void. I wasn't starving, I wasn't moody, and I definitely wasn't spending my life force choking down dry chicken breast for the 7th day in a row. If you've ever quit a diet because it made you feel like a miserable little squirrel scavenging for joy, this episode is for you. I'm going to walk you through what macros are, how to track them without losing your mind, and how to finally build a way of eating that fits your lifestyle, not the other way around. So whether you're sipping your morning coffee, pounding a protein shake, or sneakily biting into last night's pizza, relax. You don't need to be perfect to be fit. Stick with me, and I'll show you how to eat like a real human, fuel your body, and still lose fat like a pro. Let's do this. Part 2. How many calories do you actually need? Alright, now that we've got a solid handle on what macros are and why they matter, it's time to tackle the next big question. How much should you actually be eating? Because here's the truth. You can eat all the clean foods in the world, grilled chicken, kale, quinoa, you name it, but if you're eating too much of anything, even the healthy stuff, fat loss isn't going to happen. At the end of the day, fat loss comes down to a simple equation. You need to burn more calories than you consume. But, and this is where most people get stuck, how do you know how many calories your body actually needs? Let's break it down. Step 1. Understand your TDEE. Okay, deep breath. We're about to talk formulas. But don't worry, I'm not going to throw algebra at you. You do not need to be a math whiz to figure this out. The key concept here is something called your TDEE, total daily energy expenditure. Sounds fancy, but it's just a way to estimate how many calories you burn in a day, based on your metabolism and your activity level. Your TDEE has two main parts. 1. BMR, basal metabolic rate. This is the number of calories your body burns just to keep you alive. Like, if you laid in bed all day watching Netflix, breathing, blinking, existing, that's your BMR in action. It's your baseline. Most people don't realize this. But your body is always working. Your heart is pumping, your brain is buzzing, your organs are doing their thing, and all of that takes energy. So even if you're not moving much, you're still burning calories just by being a living, breathing human. 2. Activity level, real life stuff. Now add on top of that everything else you do. Walking to the kitchen, going to work, doing squats, chasing toddlers, grocery shopping, even fidgeting. All of that increases your energy expenditure, which bumps your calorie needs up. The more active you are, the more fuel your body demands. Put it all together and you get your TDEE. How many calories your body uses in a full day. From basic survival to full-on living your life. Step 2. How to estimate your calorie needs, without getting a PhD. Now, I know there are online calculators out there, and they're great, but if you want a quick and dirty estimate, I've got a simple trick for you. Take your body weight in pounds and multiply it by a number between 14 and 16. Depending on your activity level. Here's the breakdown. Multiply by 14 if you're lightly active, a few walks a week. Maybe 1 or 2 workouts. Multiply by 15 if you're moderately active, you work out a few times a week. Plus daily movement. Multiply by 16 if you're very active, training hard 5 to 6 days a week. On your feet a lot. Etc. Let's say you weigh 150 pounds and you're moderately active. 150 times 15 equals 2.250 calorie per day. That's your maintenance level. Meaning, you could eat that amount and likely stay around the same weight. Step 3. Creating a calorie deficit for fat loss. So what happens if you want to lose fat? That's where the calorie deficit comes in. You'll want to eat about 10 to 20% fewer calories than your maintenance level. That keeps things sustainable, no starvation, no crash dieting. For our example, maintenance equals 2.250 calories. A 15% deficit equals around 1.900 to 2.000 calories per day. That's a solid starting point for fat loss. Now, quick warning, going too low, too fast is a recipe for burnout. Sure, a huge deficit might get you faster results at first, but it also comes with lower energy, cravings, mood swings, and likely, the dreaded rebound. What we want is a moderate deficit that still fuels your workouts, protects your muscle, and doesn't leave you daydreaming about donuts at 2 a.m. Final thoughts before we move on. So to recap, your TDEE equals how many calories you burn each day. You can estimate it by multiplying your weight in pounds by 14 to 16 based on your activity. Eat 10 to 20% less than that to start losing fat, safely, sustainably, and without hating your life. Easy math, big results. Coming up in the next part, we're going to talk about how to break those calories down into macros, so you're not just eating less. You're eating smarter, because it's not just how much you eat, it's what you eat that makes the real difference. Stick with me, we're just getting warmed up. Part 3. The magic of tracking macros. Alright, so now you know what macros are. You know how many calories your body needs to stay where it's at, or to start shedding fat without starving yourself. But here's the deal, knowing your numbers isn't the game changer. Actually tracking what you eat, that's where the real magic happens. Because let's be honest, we all think we know what we're eating. I eat pretty healthy, right? But when you actually start logging your food, reality hits different. That handful of almonds? 200 calories. The peanut butter, taste test. Closer to 150. That salad that felt light? Topped with 400 calories worth of dressing. Trust me, I've been there. Before I started tracking macros, I was eyeballing everything. I thought I was eating clean. I thought I was in a deficit. But nothing was changing. The scale wasn't moving. My energy was tanking. And I was this close to giving up, again. Then I started tracking. And suddenly, things made sense. Why tracking macros works. Tracking your macros means you're no longer guessing. You're not cutting carbs blindly or hoping your protein shake is enough. You're looking at the actual numbers, and that gives you control. It ensures you're eating the right balance of protein, to keep your muscle and stay full, carbs, to fuel your workouts and mood, fat, to support hormones and satiety. It's like finally getting a roadmap instead of driving in circles with your eyes closed. Meet your new best friend, MyFitnessPal. Now, before you panic and think this is going to take hours a day and a degree in nutrition, breathe. We're going to use a free, easy app that makes this process super simple. MyFitnessPal. Think of it as your food diary, nutrition coach, and accountability buddy, all rolled into one. Here's how to get started. Step 1. Download the app. It's available on iPhone and Android. The free version works just fine. No need to upgrade unless you're really into data. Step 2. Set your calorie goal. Use the number you calculated from part 2. That's your daily budget. Let's say your fat loss goal is 1.900 calories per day. Pop that into the app as your target. Step 3. Set your macro split. A solid starting point for fat loss? 40% carbs, 30% protein, 30% fat. This ratio gives you enough carbs to function, enough protein to preserve muscle, and enough fat to stay full and hormonally happy. The app will do the math for you. It'll break down your 1.900 calories into gram targets for each macro. Like 190 grams carbs, 143 grams protein, 63 grams fat. That's just an example. Your numbers may vary. Step 4. Start logging your food. Now this is where most people get tripped up, but don't overthink it. Just start, one meal at a time. You can scan barcodes, search common foods, or even save your favorite meals for quicker logging. Got a go-to smoothie or protein bowl? MyFitnessPal remembers it. Logging gets faster the more consistent you are. And yes, you do need to log everything. That tiny spoonful of peanut butter? It's not tiny, it's 100 calories. The oil you used to cook your eggs? That counts. The creamer in your coffee? Yep, track it. It's not about being obsessive. It's about being aware. Because once you see where your calories are actually going, you can start making smarter swaps. Swapping mayo for Greek yogurt? Saves you 100 calories. Using a non-stick pan instead of pouring oil? Game changer. Adding a scoop of protein to your oats? Keeps you full for hours. Tracking macros gives you that clarity. It's not forever, but it is a skill. Look, I'm not saying you need to track every meal for the rest of your life. That's not realistic. And honestly, it's not necessary. But learning how to track macros, even for just a few weeks, teaches you portion awareness, nutritional balance, and what your body actually needs. Think of it like training wheels. Once you get a feel for it, you'll start making better choices automatically. You'll be able to look at a plate of food and roughly know what you're working with. That's freedom. You don't have to be perfect. You just have to be honest and consistent. Coming up next, in the next part, we're going to talk about how to make your macro-based diet actually fit your life. Because if your plan only works when everything is perfect, it's not a plan, it's a trap. We'll talk flexible dieting, eating out, handling cravings, and staying sane while still slaying your fat loss goals. You're doing great. Let's keep going. Part 4. Why macro tracking is better than dieting. Okay, let's be real for a second. Most diets? They're like bad relationships. At first, it feels exciting. Everything's new. You're full of motivation. You're telling yourself, this time it'll be different. But then, it starts showing red flags. Suddenly, you're not allowed to eat bread. You're skipping social events because you can't have anything on the menu. You're hungry, cranky, thinking about food all the time, and not in a fun way. And just like that, what started out as a healthy lifestyle turns into a miserable cycle of restriction, guilt, and, yeah, eventually giving up. I've been there. I've tried the no-carb, low-fat, eat-only green things diets. And let me tell you, they didn't make me healthier. They just made me obsessed. Now here's where macro tracking comes in, and why it's a total game changer. Macro tracking isn't a diet, it's a system. When you track macros, you're not following someone else's meal plan or swearing off entire food groups. You're building a plan around your body, your lifestyle, and your goals. You're not just asking, is this food allowed? You're asking, how does this food fit into my day? That's a powerful shift. It turns eating into a skill, not a punishment. Yes, you can still eat pizza, Let's talk about the thing everyone really wants to know. Can I still have chocolate, pizza, ice cream, wine, all the fun stuff? Short answer, yes. Long answer, yes, as long as it fits your macros. Here's what that actually means. Let's say you've got 190 grams carbs, 140 grams protein, and 60 grams fat to work with for the day. You can fill those numbers with grilled chicken, sweet potatoes, and veggies, or you can make space for a slice of pizza or a few squares of dark chocolate. And balance it out with leaner meals earlier in the day. No guilt, no cheat days, no spiraling because you had a cookie. Because you're in control, you're making it work for you. This is flexibility, not free for all. Now, don't get it twisted. Macro tracking doesn't mean you can eat junk all day and expect abs to magically appear. It's not a junk food loophole. It's about learning how to balance real life with real results. Want pizza? Cool. Maybe go lighter on fats and carbs earlier that day. Craving ice cream? Awesome. Work it into your plan. And make sure your protein's still on point. Macro tracking teaches you how to have structure without being rigid. It's about choices, not chains. Say goodbye to food guilt. The best part? When you track macros, you stop labeling food as good or bad. It's not about shame, it's about awareness. Instead of saying, I messed up, I ate a donut, you start thinking, cool, that donut was 30 grams carbs and 15 grams fat. I'll balance the rest of the day around it. No drama, no guilt, no punishment cardio. It's just numbers. It's just food. And you? You're the one in charge. Why this works long term? Here's what makes macro tracking different from every diet you've ever quit. It doesn't require perfection. It adapts to vacations, holidays, cravings, and cravings at2am. It builds habits you can actually maintain. It's not restrictive, it's educational. And once you know what your body needs, you'll never fall for another fad diet again. Because you'll realize that sustainability isn't about eating less, it's about eating smarter. What's next? In the next part of this series, we're diving into how to stay consistent when life gets messy, because let's be honest, it always does. We'll talk about meal prep hacks, mindset shifts, how to handle off days without spiraling, and how to keep moving forward even when motivation disappears. You've made it this far, and that means you're not just interested in quick fixes. You're ready for real, lasting change. Let's build it together. Conclusion and actionable takeaways. Alright, let's hit the recap, because we covered a lot today. And you're leaving this episode smarter, stronger, and way more in control of your nutrition than when you hit play. Here's what we learned. Macros are protein, carbs, and fats, the 3 nutrients your body needs to function, perform, and thrive. To lose fat, you need to eat in a calorie deficit, and that means knowing your TDEE and working with your body, not against it. Macro tracking isn't another diet. It's a flexible, sustainable way to get results without feeling restricted or deprived. And tools like MyFitnessPal make it easy to stay consistent, track your progress, and build habits that actually last. Now here's your challenge. Yeah, we're turning this into action. Today, I want you to download MyFitnessPal, or any macro tracking app you like. Set your calorie and macro goals based on what we talked about. And log your food for just 1 week. That's it, 1 week. No pressure to be perfect. No need to overhaul your entire diet overnight. Just track, learn, and see what's actually going into your body. Because when you shine a light on your nutrition, you stop guessing and start progressing. If this episode gave you a light bulb moment, do me a favor, hit that follow button, leave a quick review, and share this with a friend who needs to break up with dieting and start fueling smarter. Until next time, keep training hard, eating smart, and above all, stay full, stay focused, and stay strong. This is Ava Carter, and you've been listening to the Strong with Ava podcast. Catch you in the next one. The information shared in this podcast is for educational and informational purposes only. While we strive to provide science-backed fitness and nutrition insights, this content should not be considered medical advice. Every individual's body, health history, and needs are unique, and what works for one person may not work for another. Before making any significant changes to your diet, exercise routine, or health practices, we strongly recommend consulting with a qualified healthcare professional, doctor, or registered dietitian. Your health and well-being come first, and professional guidance ensures that your fitness journey is safe, effective, and tailored to you.